The World Cup ended last weekend, and I'm already showing withdrawal symptoms from being emotionally unemployed. I've been Googling random country populations, screaming golazo in my sleep, and yesterday, when I accidentally bumped shoulders with someone, I yelled, Ref! And rolled down 3 aisles at the grocery store. And nothing. Not even a yellow. My therapist says I need to move on, but she just doesn't understand football heritage. But underneath all the stupidity, why did I care so much? I've seen a lot of internet talk over recent years revolving around how watching sports is suddenly seen as a low value activity and that it's pathetic because you're just watching other people accomplish things while you sit on the couch. I don't know. All I can do is shake my head and laugh at them because they have no joy in their own lives. Little bundles of joy. But to be fair, it makes me wonder, why do millions of people care so much about something that doesn't affect their lives? Well, maybe that's the wrong question because I think it affects us a lot more than we'd like to admit. There's an identity issue going on here. When my team wins, it's we won. Yes, we won. I didn't score and I wasn't there during the late practices, but I am a crucial part of this team's success. If you look around at people who are watching sports, they're almost always with other people. That's because being a fan of a team is one of the last socially acceptable tribes. We're not just watching soccer, we're looking for a sense of belonging. Nowadays, and I'd like to emphasize this is in the United States, community is a dying concept. We're so focused on our own lives, living in our own boxes, that we don't have neighbors. We don't feel a need to stand with those around us. Sports are one of the last communities we have. I may have nothing in common with someone from Idaho, but if they support a team I support, we may end up kissing. High fiving and yelling masculinely. Sharing experiences is what it's all about. When I think about watching the Super Bowl, the World Cup, MMA fights, I'm thinking about who was there and where we were, what we laughed about. Sports are just the glue, and for someone awkward like me, it always gives you something to observe and talk about and lean back on. It's an invitation. I noticed something during the final. I was at a watch party, and as I'm staring too intently at the screen, I decide I need a breather. So I step back, I look around, and instantly recognize something. While everyone had their eyes glued to a TV, you could see their body language was actually focused on the people with them. So, I started eavesdropping and also paying closer attention to the conversations with my friends, and it's much less about the game than I realized. A big moment happens and captures everyone's attention, and then it seems to fade, and people are back to talking about their lives and having regular conversation. And the only time I'm having a full-on conversation with a stranger, it's probably involving sports. So, if I take a step back, it looks like sports keep things surface level, you know? You say things like, that game was awesome, what a goal, or
I didn't know that many hot dogs could fit in a man's mouth.
which could sound shallow, but I think it's just an icebreaker, and it's just a way to connect with people without always having to get into a dark place, which I do also love, but there's a time and a place, right? Crying in a Buffalo Wild Wings bathroom is a weird experience. That's probably why they have TVs even over the urinals. If we're specifically talking about the World Cup or the Olympics, the identity factor hits a bit harder, right? Seeing a flying flag suddenly gets a bit emotional, and the sense of community is at an all time high. I mean, the other day, after one of the semifinal games, I witnessed a mom try to fight another young woman, screaming, pushing, cursing, all while she's hand in hand with her kid. The kid was the mature one, pleading for her to leave peacefully. Like, Ma, let's go! And if we're honest, I feel it's the only time where people all over the world can be brought together in this beautiful, heartwarming fashion. And don't get me wrong, I'm blessed to have been born in the United States, but not all that often do I find myself acting patriotic. But as soon as a USA sporting event is on, I'm whipping out the flag, a Coors Light, and my 12 gauge shotgun, only speaking in Eagle dialect for the next 2 hours, right? Like, but a sense of belonging isn't the lone beneficiary. Unless you're a robot, which that's cool. Don't hurt me, put me in the algorithm, please. There's a level of emotion involved in sports. You're seeing people who dedicate their entire lives to mastery. And that's marvelous, and it really makes me question how quickly I give up on things. Athletes give their life to the sport with no guarantee of that one sweet accomplishment they crave. Simple life lessons can be taken from that act of discipline. And when they fail, they're set back in their goals, it's a tough sight to stomach. On the other side, the joy of a team or person who is finally granted with that realization that their hard work and dedication paid off, it's exhilarating. It genuinely feels like I can do whatever I want in this life when I see something like that. There's also emotion for the viewers as well. They've willingly spent a scary amount of time watching all the games. A level of investment is definitely present. You see a commitment most people don't give their marriages. Signing up to watch 22 strangers determine your mood for the weekend is borderline sheepish, but we do it because we care. Don't let anyone tell you emotion is removed from sports. It's the driving factor. I'll watch checkers just to feel something. But why do we as humans feel the need to sign up for something just to feel things? We choose scary movies, sad songs, adrenaline rushing experiences. Why? The next night after the World Cup final, I had went out to watch the Odyssey. Packed theater. Everyone sat there for 3 hours watching people they've never met fight over a world that doesn't exist anymore. And I thought, is this the same as the World Cup? I mean, different story, but same emotion. Humans are emotionally available for pretty much everything. We'll cry over a Pixar lamp. We'll miss a video game city. I'll put my head through a wall because a couple millionaires missed a penalty shot. Emotions aren't logical, and these things don't change our lives, but they very directly change how we feel. My absolute favorite part of sports are the storylines. Sports is one of the only places you can get the hero versus the villain, the comebacks, the underdogs, in the same space, without the Avengers decimating a city, of course. Sports are one of the few unscripted stories left. Nobody knows the ending, and maybe that's what we're addicted to. Sitting on the edge of your seat hits like crack, unless your team is playing and then it hits like a laxative. And it's not a Hollywood production, a book revised 1,000 times, or your uncle telling you a story about his Bahamas threesome. These are real events with real people, trying their best because any moment a mistake can cause a worldwide heartbreak. No pressure, am I right? I feel if you look back at our ancestors, especially the ones that were indigenous to this land, you see tons of ritualistic tendencies that just aren't present today. Whether it's a dance and song or sacrificial ritual, it's something we're maybe luckily missing from today's society, but I think we still crave those habits. We love the scarves and the anthems, our lucky jerseys, the Pledge of Allegiance. Players have unique pregame routines, and most fans do as well. It feels like something to lean on in this world, which gets me to my final point. Maybe the reason watching sports is satisfying is because effort and outcomes seem connected. Sometimes the better team loses, sometimes they win, but everyone agreed to the same rules. No exceptions, no hierarchies, no absolutes. Just a sequence of events that the athletes pour their heart and soul into. Real life doesn't always feel as fair as a game. I can still feel the air from when the Knicks won the NBA championship, and I live across the country. I'm imagining the horns honking, people running, singing in the streets. Some people are celebrating and some are devastated. But tomorrow, we'll all go back to work, right? And just for one day, millions of people feel the same thing at the same time, and that is unreal. Maybe that's why we care. Not because sports change the world, not because movies are real, not because music solves our problems, but for just a little while, they remind us we can be a part of something bigger than ourselves. Millions of people feeling the same thing at the same time, alive. And if you still think watching sports doesn't affect someone's life, ask them how they felt watching their team's biggest game. You'll have your answer. Checkmate!